I'm Kevin, Jack and Eileen's fourth child. I'd like to thank you all for coming here to celebrate his life today. I'd especially like to thank Rose and Nancy for all the work they did setting up this day. This is my first eulogy. I was advised that this eulogy should be about the same length as the Father Dan's homily. That was 7 to 8 minutes. Now, if you've ever been to church with my father, he would consider a 7 to 8 minute homily pretty good. A 5 to 6 minute one even better. And with a brood of 8 children, a homily of less than 5 minutes would be exceptional. I'm going to try and be exceptional today. I brought my dad's obituary up here, the one that was in the paper. Many of you have read it. He was born in Brooklyn, New York, went to St. John's Prep, earned a math and physics degree from Fordham University, received track scholarships, medals, national records, had a great job with IBM, 8 children, 15 grandchildren, ran his own small business. Pretty impressive. To us, our father was so much more than that. A wonderful husband, a great father, as you've heard, an awesome grandfather, a best friend, and a sponsor to many. Last week I was at my parents' house with my brother John, and we're going through some old photos, and we're remembering all the great times we had together. He came across a stopwatch that was my dad's from when he ran in college. It's a sprinter's stopwatch. So every 10 seconds, the large hand goes around the dial. It also has a minute hand that goes much slower around the small dial. It's one of the few possessions my dad kept from before he was married. As I looked at the watch, I thought it was a really good representation of my dad's life. For me, the large hand racing around the dial, clicking away, represents all the things that were happening in his life. There were no breaks. There was always so much going on. You heard he liked to move, but I'm going to just give you some examples of the start of my parents' life together. In 1959, they were married. My dad started a new job and moved to Buffalo. 1960, first child. 1961, second child. 1962, third child. 1963, fourth child. 1965, fifth child. And they get up and move to Syracuse, New York. 1966, sixth child. 1967, they move to Ithaca. 1970, seventh child, and they decide to move again in Ithaca. 71, they moved to Potomac, Maryland. 74, they moved to Atlanta, Georgia. 75, eighth child. 76, moved to Lexington, Kentucky. 1979, moved to Jacksonville, Florida. The hand always ticking away. Getting his kids through college, marriage, grandchildren, running his golf shop. The hand continued to race for 35 more years. On the other hand, and no pun intended there, his personal relationships with his family and friends are represented by the minute hand. While the large hand raced around the dial, it didn't matter how busy or chaotic life would be, he would slow down, take a minute, and find a way to give you whatever time you needed. He had a special gift of making you feel like you were the most important thing in his life. 8 children, and all of us, even today, we were my father's favorite. He has 2 son-in-laws, 4 daughter-in-laws, 15 grandchildren, and they still think Jack was they still think they were Jack's favorite. He had this effect on many friends he made in his life. Whether he just met you or knew you for 30 years, He always greeted you the same, with a big smile on his face, and told you how great it was to see you. The love of my father's life was Eileen. He met her when they were 14. They were introduced by my dad's good friend, Joe Tricomi. Started dating when they were 18. They were married 55 years. When my father wanted to get my mother's attention, he would shout, "Eileen!" I never thought I'd miss that. The timer has stopped. The hands are no longer racing around the face of the stopwatch. But we will never stop feeling the unconditional love my father had for us. There's an Irish tradition my parents lived by, and it goes, "Our door is never latched. An extra place is always set. In hopes a friend in need stops by, that's sure we never met." In this spirit and the spirit of our Father, we wish to invite you back to St. Peter's Episcopal Church afterwards. Thank you.